Hello, and welcome to Go Fund This, a podcast from Nerds Domain. In these episodes, we'll be talking to crowdfund project managers about their projects and what excites them. Come listen as we talk about the passion they have for their project. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Go Fund This. This week, I'm talking with Travis Chance and Nick Little from Action Phase Games. Say hi, guys.
Hey.
Hi, guys.
So, we're going to talk about Heroes Wanted Stuff of Legend, your new expansion for the Heroes Wanted board game. You guys funded Heroes Wanted last year on Kickstarter around this time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that went pretty well, and now you're on to your new expansion that we'll get into kind of what that means. But first, we have two really important questions that we have to answer. Travis, we had you on last time, so Nick, this is all you.
Okay.
Because we've already got Travis's answers. So number one, in the impending zombie apocalypse, what is your weapon of choice?
Weapon of choice, huh? Probably a chainsaw, I think.
Chainsaw.
Yeah.
All right. And given all of the sci-fi that you know, what planet do you most want to visit?
Ooh. That's a tough one. I don't think I've put much thought into what planet I'd like to visit. I don't really know.
Okay. There are a lot of choices, yeah.
Chlorpax.
What is Chlorplax?
It's a name of. It's like a fake planet in the expansion that we're doing now.
Oh no, that's a perfect answer then.
Chlorplex it is.
Right on. So let's hear all about Heroes of Legend or Stuff of Legend. What exactly are you guys doing in the Kickstarter, and why do you have such a passion for this?
Nick, you want to lead?
Sure. Well, we had such a good response to the game with the Kickstarter the first time. You know, we were pretty unknown at the time. I think about 40 people knew that the game existed when we launched last time. So we had a really big positive response when that happened, and we were able to fund the game last time in 48 hours. And really just hearing from everybody now that they've been able to play it and, you know, they've answered their questions and gotten feedback from what they wanted to see more of. So when we decided that, you know, we had the chance to get an expansion out there because we had enough fans and enough people that wanted to see it, we went back to what we knew worked, and then we wanted to, you know, not just print all the same stuff again. We wanted to make it different, but still keep the theme and the humor and the mechanics and stuff that people liked from the first game. So it's mostly, you know, if you like the base game, you'll love the expansion. Plus, we've given them, you know, we've gone in new directions and created new things. So we came up with 2 new scenario boards because people were asking, you know, they wanted new scenarios. It takes a while to develop those to make sure they work with all the heroes and the villains and to make sure that they're dynamic enough that you don't feel that you're just like trotting across a board, you know, that you're not just like kind of rolling and moving. There needs to be a reason that you're interacting with the board and the tokens on the board. So we have 2 cool new scenario boards. One of them is a haunted gaming store where the villain is a ghost who's like possessing little meeples from the different board games and making them come to life and attack you. So on that board, the underlings pop up every round. There's more underlings that come out through the course of the game. Not so many of them start on the board as is different from the first game where almost all the underlings started on the board on most of the maps. And then the other board is the craziest one that we've come up with yet. It was Travis's idea for the theme was that it has two villains, and they're trying to open a portal to alternate Wyoming in order to like import these crazed redneck zombies that are, undead, that are trying to ruin the city. So it's played on 2 different boards, and you hop back and forth between this alternate Wyoming and Zeta City in order to try and stop the villains from wreaking havoc in the city. In addition to the 2 boards, we also have 2 new hero types that are very different from the previous hero types that we had in the game. We have one that's supernatural, where the supernatural heroes are magic-based, and they haven't quite mastered their powers. So whenever they use their superpower, they curse themselves, and then they have this negative element, this negative resource that they have to manage in order to get the full strength of their superpower back. And then we also have these, we're calling them mythic heroes. They're sort of like gods or demigods, where They all the mythic heroes are completely different from each other and from other heroes in the game, and those were the hardest to design because you're basically designing like 8 or 9 abilities at once instead of just like one superpower. Because when you design guys in the old types, you're just designing a superpower because you know how their hero bonus cards work and you know how their special actions work and their epic actions work. Well, with the mythic heroes, we wanted to make them completely different and have them all have a unique bonus bonus card and then a unique epic action that they leveled into. So those guys are really exciting, and every time you play a different one, it'll be a completely different game.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit more about the Kickstarter as a whole. Like, this is the expansion is the basic idea, but in your last Kickstarter, you put out 2 expansions called Extra and Champions of Zeta City. Is that right?
Champions of Masterminds.
There you go. So are we going to see 2 smaller expansions as well like that?
Yeah, we're calling them expansion packs now. Last time we called them add-ons because you were allowed to add $10 to your pledge to get them. We steered away from using them as add-ons now just because it was complicated, and Kickstarter doesn't have a really good setup for how to manage add-ons. You just have to like tell people to pledge extra, and then they can go on and do that. But then they have to remind you the reason that they gave you extra money. Was it for shipping or add-ons? So basically, we're just calling everything expansion packs. So it's like little extra decks that you get. So the first time, yeah, you had the extra in the Champions and Masterminds expansion pack. This time, we're calling the Breaking News. So it's like Extra 2. It's just Breaking News is an additional pack of 54 cards, more heroes, villains, and quirks, just even more variability and cool new guys that we came up with. And then we have Champions and Masterminds 2, which is even more champs and masterminds, and there's a little token sheet that comes into that one because there's tokens that go with one of the heroes and one of the villains in it. And so we're calling those expansion packs. So there's a level you can back where you just get the Stuff of Legend, and then there's a level that you can back where you get the Stuff of Legend and the expansion packs. So it's a little bit more expensive level that you're looking for. But you don't have to like remind us that you got the add-ons. It's just back for that level, and you'll get all of the expansion packs.
Okay. So any hero or hero card or champion card or anything that you want to highlight that you are really excited and proud of?
Well, there's a lot of. I mean, this one has. I think it's this expansion really highlights that we still have a lot of room to move with in terms of design. Often what I do is I just kind of will say to Nick, "Wouldn't it be crazy if?" and then I'll throw him an idea, and then usually the idea is not usually. Sometimes the idea is over the top. And he'll find a way to trim it back. Sometimes I get it right, but I have a decent idea now of what kind of flies and what doesn't fly. But I'm sort of the guy that's always kind of trying to push the boundaries, and Nick is kind of trying to pull me back to reality. But there's a lot of new heroes. I think there's one called Butterfly that's one of my favorite ones. It just she doesn't. She doesn't have her own superpower. What she does is she has to kind of queue up using one card to get a token, and then she plays her superpower, and then that allows her to draw 5 of the unused hero cards, and then she gets to tap into the superpower of one of those cards which she chooses. So every time she uses her superpower, it's going to be pretty different. And we've had some pretty interesting things happen with that, right, Nick? Where like you'll end up getting cursed because the only good one you drew was like supernatural guys, and then the next thing you know, you're trying to manage just the curse resource, which isn't normally something a mutant hero like that card has. And then you're hoping to find another character or another superpower later when you use it again that will help you to sort of mitigate that. And we've had that happen, I think, once or twice. But there's a bunch of cards like that. We just spoiled a new card called Dad. And his superpower is the first superpower that it has no attack functionality. It's essentially like the rest action. It's like he gets to move he gets to move really far. He gets to get back all of his cards and he gains a fame, and then he has to sort of like inadvertently he has a chance that he might have to protect someone, like be dad-like and protect another hero. Whether or not you want to, it kind of doesn't matter. It's down to a die roll. So yeah, there's a bunch of neat new stuff that we've done with this that I'm very happy with and surprised that we can still manage to make the game feel fresh and new and take it in new directions.
Right on. So you guys have been as a company, Action Phase has only been around for a little over a year. Is that right?
Yeah, we've been designing games for it's like 3 years now that Travis has been designing. I joined him about 6 months after he started on his first game. But yeah, as a company, we were founded at the beginning of last year.
Okay.
So yeah.
And last year we got to see a lot of YouTube videos of Travis spoiling cards. Are we going to get to see that again?
I don't know. Actually, it was one of those things where we made a bunch of content and. It's weird how the internet works. It's, you know, you have those two minorities, the vocal minorities, where it's like the people who complain and then the people who are diehard fans, but you don't really ever hear from that other 80 percentile. So we kind of threw those out there, and there were some people, mostly people who kind of knew us or that were in that 10 percentile of the super fans that commented. So I'm not really sure if that's something that people want. We definitely plan to do more videos of Nick and I playing the game so people can kind of see it through the designer's, experience of playing it, to give them an idea of what the game has to offer.
Okay. Yeah, we over here at Nerds Domain loved those videos. Oftentimes when one of us says something jerky to the other one, I respond back with beep boop, I'm a robot, and we just move on. So if you decided to do something like that, we wouldn't be opposed over here, and we'd probably enjoy quite a bit of it. You guys funded pretty quick, like 2 hours, is that right?
Yeah.
And so now you're on to stretch goals. You've got several, just like last time. That's one of the things I loved was your stretch goals were, hey, we're going to do more hero cards and more villain cards and more of everything. So any upcoming stretch goals that you'd like to point out?
There's one cool stretch goal that we have coming up that it right now it just says unlock bystander mode. It's neat because we want to, with that, once we hit that plateau, we'll be able to put bystander meeples in the game instead of just having the bystander tokens. And last time in Heroes 1, there's only one board that used these bystanders, and you just like land on them and then you get to rescue them and you get a fame. And I think that board had a headline that tied to rescuing a bystander. Well, we took that idea and expanded upon it, and now both of the boards in the new expansion have bystanders on them. And then we're coming up with ways to use the bystanders with the previous maps, or previous scenarios. So this allowed us to have heroes that trigger upon rescuing bystanders, or like Travis mentioned, Dad, his ability is move to a space with a bystander or a hero. So it'll allow him to move to more spaces and give more flexibility. And so we're pretty excited to be able to allow people to go back and play those old boards with this sort of new spin to it that'll change, the way that they can gain points or the way they can hit headlines and things like that.
Okay. And unlike a lot of Kickstarters, you don't just have money stretch goals, you also have social media goals as well.
Yeah, we're not doing too good on those this time around. We tried some new stuff. And the one thing that we're kind of noticing this time with this Kickstarter, it's interesting, and this is by no means a complaint, is in the first one we kind of had to sing for our supper. So, like, we did really well, but we also, like, really got down and made sure that we were communicating with everyone on a one-on-one basis wherever possible. And this one, we put it up, and it's just kind of like, we had a lot of banter, a lot of questions, and we also, in the first one, we had a lot of complaints, too. And when I say complaints, it was just more of this sort of entitled Kickstarter culture stuff where, I don't like that this character's hair is brown. Why isn't his hair blonde? Are you guys against the Germanic upbringing? Like, weird stuff. So this time around, we don't really have any of the complaints at all. Like, we were met with great reception out of the gate, funding in 2 hours. But at the same time, we're not really getting that same level of interaction that we were getting. So it's kind of weird. It's almost like I would trade a little drama to be able to talk to people a little more. I would take on a little drama, rather. So
yeah.
The social goals, I think we actually just crossed one today. I have to double check. But we're thinking about rejiggering those a little bit just so that we can make them because the point of those is interaction. We don't, giving the hitting the margins for those is something that we want to happen because we want the backers to get that content as well. But it's a little different. Last time we just crushed I mean, we pretty much crushed every goal we put out up until the end, except for that last one, right, Nick? We were just barely short of it.
Yeah. Then we went ahead and went with it anyway. We went ahead and unlocked that level, even though we were like $10,000 short, I think.
Yeah.
Right on. So this is your second Kickstarter that you guys are doing really well on. I think you're at, what, 300% so far of your initial need?
Yeah.
As of this moment, we are at $62,978 of the $20,000 we originally needed.
Yeah, and so you guys are doing just great. You guys have any plans for future expansions? I know we talked about this last time briefly, and some of the stuff we talked about has made it. I don't see elementals here though, so maybe I'm missing that. But do you see more expansions coming? Is this something you guys are going to keep playing with the game and keep expanding on it?
We have a few ideas on expansions that we can do. We definitely want to introduce elementals, probably in the next expansion or in the near future. And then we have a couple ideas. One for like where you'd be doing like sort of a team situation where you would have a partner and then your opponent would have, or your opponents would also be on a team. And you'd still be playing Heroes Wanted, but instead of like being the one person that's trying to make the squad, you're trying to have like the most famous team. Like maybe you're competing with the champions to be a well-known team in the city. So it's more of a like co-op / competitive game where you guys my teammate and I are working together to gain more fame than the other team. And then I think we want to expand further on the champions idea. Like we want to make different versions of the champs and make boards that are especially playable with them. Because they're totally playable on the boards that we have, but we haven't sat down and tried to design a board where you're supposed to play as the champions of Zeta City and work on things where it's like certain masterminds are like very difficult on this board because of the way that we designed it. So,
okay. And we've seen two of the new heroes and masterminds, Boxhead, which clearly that's Travis, right, with the infamy tattoo, right?
Yeah, that's the parody of the Inside the Box reviewers Jack Darwin and George Chin did of me. It was probably about, 6 or 8 months ago that they put that.
Yeah, I think it was July or August when it came out.
And they're actually in the game, too. We just unlocked a stretch goal for them. Both of those guys, Jack is Jerk and George is Friend. So, yeah.
Right on.
Boxhead's good. He's really tough, man. He's one of those ones you read him and read the rules on him, and you're like, this doesn't seem like it's that difficult or that hard, and he'll just beat the snot out of you every time.
Yeah.
And then you've got Disco Inferno, who's hot stuff. She's the new champion that you guys have kind of revealed.
Yeah, she's our nod. What we did last time was we showed Striker, which was a nod to the Mythic heroes, and this time we're showing Disco Inferno, which is going to be a nod to the Elementals, which I think, Nick was talking, to go back to what he was saying earlier, is, we have all these other ideas. One of the things about this is we have to kind of pace the releases. So, we don't want to just inundate, and actually that's one thing that Nick's really good at, because if it was up to me, like there'd be like 20 more features in every expansion, which generally creates more work, kind of overwhelm the players and the fans. So so Disco Inferno is a nod to the Elementals that we want to do next. And we've got Fastodon, who is the guy who retired. Fastodon, the world's fastest mammoth. He's the one that retired, which has kind of caused this whole situation in which the world is set. And then there's Vampire, which Vampire is this sort of baseball. He's dressed like an umpire, but he's a vampire, so he's like a baseball-themed supernatural guy. And then the other mastermind is Sheevil, which is this sort of senior citizen, 60-plus-year-old woman who's kind of like a scarlet witchy necromancer lady, and she still kind of squeezes into her old costume. I'm making it sound more visually horrific than it really is.
Don't get him wrong. It's a little visually horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on the picture, and it's, there's a little horrific there.
And she messes with curses and stuff, so she's got an interesting thing where she kind of immobilizes people, and then she's trying to, what's the theme next? She's like trying to summon some sort of ultimate evil to Zeta City, and she's kind of cursing herself to make herself like a conduit for this evil. So you have to stop her. You have to by attacking her, you actually reduce this sort of ritual she's performing.
Right
on. Okay. So you guys have funded. You're all set up. You've got plans for the future. Where can we see you, though? Because I know that I loved playing it last year. In fact, we played it at HoosierCon, and I backed while we were at the table because it was so good. Where can we see you again so I can back you again from the table?
Well, this year, I mean, we plan on going to HoosierCon. We plan on going to IndieCon. We're kind of keeping a lot's happened in this last year. I have a daughter now. I have tomorrow she'll be 8 months old. And Nick's got, a full-time job. So we kind of keep a little bit lower of a profile now. Obviously, like working on games, which we do full-time, and the logistics. When I say full-time, I'm saying like Nick does full-time hours on top of his full-time job. I have a little part-time job, and I stay at home with my daughter, and I work for the company. So it's a little difficult for us, I guess, right, Nick, to kind of get out in the public as much as we want, because that's usually taking time away from things like working on logistics, because the weekends are where everyone is free,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But we plan to do HoosierCon, IndieCon. We're hoping to do Origins. What else?
PopCon, I think we're trying to go to PopCon again.
Oh, yeah, Indie PopCon. Did I say Indie? I said IndieCon. Indie PopCon. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And you guys, of course, will be at Gen Con this year, right?
Correct. We got our booth all set up. We got I think it's a 10 by 20 this year, so it will be a little bit bigger. We're going to make it a really awesome experience.
Yeah, you guys seemed a little stuffed in that corner there. It was a nice booth, but you needed room to grow and breathe, I think. So it'll be good to see you guys expand.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that you guys want to highlight on the Kickstarter?
I mean, just, check it out, and if you have any questions or anything, absolutely get a hold of us. Don't be afraid to comment or ask questions or direct emails to us for an answer, off the page if that's what you want. We've still got some really exciting stretch goal stuff ahead of us, and I'm pretty confident. We're a little bit of a lull right now. This is kind of what happens, but we're still steadily funding, and we just want to make sure that we get the game out there to as many people as possible.
And for our listeners at home, if this is something that you guys like the idea of, you can actually back this and still get the base game. So definitely check that out. I think the $95 level gets you the base game and a copy of the expansion stuff of Legend.
That's right.
Yep.
And there's a lot of stuff going on here, and definitely I've already backed it. I was day one waiting for it to go up so I could hurry up and get in there. Unfortunately, I misread because I'm an idiot, and I didn't get the breaking news or Champions and Masterminds 2, so I'll have to pick those up afterwards. But it definitely...
Yeah, we'll make sure that people... We'll make sure. We tried to really simple... Okay. We tried to... Are you there, Matt?
I'm here.
All right, sorry, I just got some weird little notification. We're going to make sure that people know that they can obtain like the expansion packs and stuff after the fact. We wanted to keep the page really clean this time. Last time we had a ton of pledge levels, and it was very confusing, and it was quite honestly tough to navigate afterward from the fulfillment perspective. So we want to make sure that we get it everything kind of clean and tidy, but we'll make sure that we can direct people to the right places so they know how to go ahead and get those extra packs if they want them.
Right on. And you guys have everything from just backing at $1 all the way up to being heroes and villains at the $300 mark, where we tell you what we want to do, and you guys set us up as a hero or a villain.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's kind of awesome. Right on. Well, thank you guys. For the listeners, you can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/heroeswanted. They're on Twitter at ActionPhaseGames. You can go to their website, actionphasegames.com. And you can head over to Kickstarter and look for Stuff of Legend, and it'll pop right up for you. Yeah, anything else you guys want to say before we go?
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, thanks for your time and taking an interest in the game.
Thanks for
Absolutely. We love it. As always, we want to say you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. You can find us over on patreon.com/nerdsdomain. You can head over to the website, sign up for our newsletter, and then you can find our shirts over at /loot. And we want to thank Jarby McCoy for our music, and we will talk to you guys real soon.
This has been a production of the Omega Nerds Network, the network where it's on.